Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to our City of Sueur City Council meeting dated March 24, 2025. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members, you were all given your packets over the weekend. You received electronically and also a hard copy. This time, I will ask for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington. Second. Councilmember Sullivan, seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to presentations. Mr. Roby, you want to give us an introduction here?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have a unique opportunity tonight to recognize a mayoral proclamation recognizing April 7th, 2025 as Alexander Disease Day in the city of Sueur. Alexander disease is an ultra rare terminal disease. And unfortunately, the Sueur community is all too familiar with this terrible disease. And Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
A year ago in July, I had the sad honor to assist the Holzer family in the funeral service for their son, Sean, who died of this disease. And it brings me great pleasure and honor tonight to dedicate this day of April 7th for the disease and for their cure and research for the disease. So at this time, I'd like to ask the family to step up to the podium. And Karen, and Sean's mother, is going to kind of read an introduction and the proclamation to everybody, and I will kind of finish.
Recognizing April 7, 2025 as Alexander Disease Day in the city of Sueur, whereas Alexander disease is an ultra rare terminal disease, and whereas since its discovery in 1949, fewer than 600 cases have been reported worldwide, and whereas End Alexander Disease was established in 2019 with a mission of being a catalyst for research and development of a treatment and eventual cure of Alexander disease, and to help those with this disease and other types of leukodystrophy get the care they need. And whereas Sean Holzer, a Sueur area resident and friend to many, lost his battle with Alexander disease in July 2024. And whereas we strive to bring awareness to this disease and the research being conducted into finding its treatment and eventual cure.
Therefore, I, Sean Kirby, Mayor of the City of Sueur, do hereby proclaim April 7, 2025 as Alexander Disease Day in the City of Sueur, and urge all citizens and organizations to join in helping to bring awareness to the disease and lend support to its cause for research and ultimately a cure. Therefore, tonight, as witness, all of you as witness, and of course it's his family, I will sign this fixed proclamation with the official seal of the City of Sueur on this 24th day of March, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless his memory.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Say a couple words. Okay. I wanted to thank the mayor and the city council and everyone that's come in to support us. We really appreciate you all. It means a lot. I mean, Sean touched a lot of lives, and it was an honor to be his parent. And to say we missed him is an understatement. I wanted to share that April 7th is significant because that was the day that the lead researcher of Alexander's disease discovered that he possibly had a treatment that could help these kiddos. And so that was the day. That's why it's April 7th. It's not just a random day. And with that being said, Sean was the first participant in the study and Palo Alto, California at Stanford University. It was a double-blind study, so we don't know if he received the actual medication, but everything indicates that he probably did. He received 2 doses, and then things kind of went topsy-turvy for him. So we had to pull him out of the study. But anyway, we are still definitely encouraged and hopeful for a cure for the other kiddos in the population of Alexander's disease. So again, we thank you for your time and continuing to raise awareness.
Thank you. Closing comment.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Yes, absolutely. We have council members that might want to say something.
Kudos to all of you for bringing this forward and honoring your son. Awareness of research for these orphan diseases is extremely important, and now is not the time to stop research funding. So keep that in mind when future comes up, but very important because it does matter. There's people that are involved here. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Moving on to consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine, have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. In which event, the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. Mr. Roby, would you like to review these with us, please?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We have five items on tonight's consent agenda. The first is approval of minutes from the regular city council meeting of March 10th, 2025. The second is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those disbursements are 3 items over $25,000. The first to Bolton Bank for their engineering work on the 2025 street and utility improvements project, totaling $67,329. Second to Neil Water Treatment LLC for our wastewater FX 300 chemical, $40,687.95. And third to Waste Management for our February 2025 refuse services, $25,436.86. Item C, approve a banner installation application. This is for a banner that will cross Main Street for the Sueur Chamber of Commerce for the Retail and Business Expo coming up next month. Item D, approve Main Street closure application for Max Green Mill and Bar for Relay for Life event. And item E, approve payment application number 1 for the sewer lining project.
Thank you. Any council member have any questions regarding the consent agenda or any of these items?
The sewer lining project, granted, I'm not familiar with it. So what are they lining it with?
They line it with a, actually, Eric, were you working on this project with this?
I was
Not closely. It's a PVC type liner that lines. It's a very, very thin plastic film essentially that goes on the inside of the sewer pipe to both strengthen the structure of the pipe itself, and effectively the material is strong enough to stand alone if the pipe were to fail around it. So it lengthens the duration of the life of the sewer pipe itself.
Thank you, Councilmember Nelson. Anybody else? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Schrader seconded. Any other discussions, comments, concerns, questions? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to public comment. Councilmember Nelson, I don't think anybody has signed that sheet over there. If you want to take a peek for me, please.
Over here?
There's a white sheet on that table.
It's empty.
Thank you. We will move then with the city administrator's update, Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. March 12th, I had the privilege of attending some Vision 2050 meetings in the center. Those were hosted by Sueur County. I mentioned them at the last meeting. Councilmember Schlieder attended as a representative of the Planning Commission. Zoning Administrator Nielsen also attended, looking at the future land use maps of around Sueur County. And it was assessment specifically for cities. We had a transit meeting on March 11th at Joint Services Building. We are hopefully approaching the end of our wetland banking project with the wastewater department. There should be more coming in future council meetings to give an update on that project, which has been nearly 7 years in the making. RPAC, just a reminder that Recreation and Parks Advisory Committee meets quarterly now instead of monthly, and their next meeting, or the first meeting of 2025, is next Tuesday, April 1st at 5 p.m. City staff are busy now planning for summer, so that means street sweepers are out, hydrant flushing will start here soon, preparing for summer ice, which is when the Bulldog Youth Hockey Association utilizes the hockey arena in the summertime. So the ice is out now in the community center. It will go back in at the end of May and stay in through early August. The outdoor pool will be prepped soon, and as you've likely noticed on social media and elsewhere, we're in the midst of our seasonal employee hirings for recreation and public services. Finally, I want to thank Mayor Kirby and members of our police department and fire department for hosting Representative Angie Craig, who visited last week to talk about public safety funding for the city. Our next meeting of City Council will be, I lost it already, April 14th. Monday, April 14th. And one of the items that we'll discuss then is a modification of TIF District 1-22. It's mostly a technicality, but there will be a public hearing that evening. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions regarding his report, his update? Thank you very much. If not, we'll take us into the regular agenda, and we'll start with item 8A, the Sueur Police Department Accreditation Program. Mr. Roman, do you want to take us into Chief Sueur?
I would, thank you. I'll invite Chief Sueur up to the podium. In summary, the Minnesota Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, or MNLEAP, has been established to provide consistent and achievable standards for law enforcement agencies. It's the first of its kind accreditation program in the state of Minnesota. LSPD would like to pursue accreditation through this program among some 30-odd agencies across Minnesota, which have begun the process. I'll let Chief Sueur take it over, and I would ultimately seek from City Council a motion to approve the Sueur Police Department's enrollment in and pursuit of accreditation with this program, including pursuit of grant funding to cover any expenses related to the accreditation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I believe that Robbie sent you all the information on accreditation. Is that right? So if you didn't get a chance to look at it, it's quite extensive. So it's going to take us a little bit to do it. I have volunteered Sergeant Gladys to take over this. So he will be making sure, he's been the one that has been with the agency the longest as a sergeant. So he feels comfortable going through the process. As you saw also in the package, I myself am a commissioner for the board. So I made sure that the small agencies were also able to pursue this goal, because a lot of the things that were expected and standards that were expected could be a little harder to get as a small agency. So I was very glad that they welcomed me on the board, just representing a small agency. So like you read, the accreditation is a constructive and time-proven way of supporting law enforcement agencies. To be accredited, the requirement is to follow policies and procedures or standards that are operational, effective, and reflect community values. And that's why it was so important that small agencies were also represented on what we can and cannot do. It's a distinctive Minnesota-specific program, and is independent of any other accreditation organizations. The Chief of Police Associations wanted to bring a sense of pride and accountability to each agency, and the accreditation will further the law enforcement virtues of transparency, trust, justice, honor, and excellence, which is what every law enforcement agency wants to get to, and for sure, we are definitely on our way to be it'll be another way to rebrand our agency, since it's so new, and start like do it the right way. We also will be applying for the grant for it. The Chief of Police Association themselves got a grant that is to assist any agencies that is 20 officers or less to pay for the accreditation itself, because of course everything costs money, and we just need to make sure that we follow all that. And there's an original money that we would have to pay, and then years thereafter. It is the first year, and then you have to reapply for accreditation 4 years after that. So it's not every year. So the grant would definitely be something that we want to try to get. So if there's any questions at all about it or about the program, I'd be more than willing to answer if I'm able to.
I'll start with the council. The council members have questions.
Yeah, I just, thank you for being on the board, first of all, to have the voice of small towns heard. That's very admirable of you, and I appreciate that. Question, will you be having individuals come down and take a look at your program, and like what I call surveyors?
Yes, so what we will do is first we enroll, and then we will have somebody that will pretty much guide us through on how to get the standards that we're not up to par yet. And then we will do a self-assessment with the city administrator and with our own department, make sure that we're up to par. And then they will assessors will come and make sure that we are up to it. But we have help throughout the way to make sure that we have it. And certain standards, I don't know if you got a chance to look at them, but some standards are as simple as our oath of office. And you saw, like, we have it, and I have no idea that some agencies really don't. So they're gonna have to start doing that, and if anything, they have to make sure that everybody that is on their force now goes through their own oath of office. And then some of them are just policy specific, security specific, so it just kind of goes all around as the standards and a little bit higher than what the post board is expecting us to do now. So a little bit cleaner also, so we can say that how well organized we can be.
That's extremely helpful for an organization. So
Yes.
have to have a good sound base foundation and then policies to work off of. So kudos for you for doing it.
Thank you. I agree. I believe that now that we are, I love saying it, now that we're fully staffed, we have that base. Like now we have to build this brand new department to the highest standard. So, yes.
Anybody else?
I do. What other cities are involved?
Yeah, so I did I printed it, but I didn't see it. But there's in this area right now, the only one that I have heard of, I believe, is Gibbon from our regions. So the Chief of Police Association is divided in different regions throughout the state of Minnesota. I'm your rep for Region 9. We just had a meeting last week, and we had 10 chiefs out of 23 chiefs came over, and they were not aware of some of what the accreditation was. They hadn't spread out all the way. So we talked about it. So from that meeting alone, I know that there'll be other agencies that will be putting in, including Mankato PD. So Mankato PD is rebuilding itself. They just had a new director of public safety. So they're trying to build their own department now. So he knows it won't, the director knows that it won't be at this time. But once they establish themselves, then they will go through the accreditation. And then St. Peter Police Department called me right after just to figure out more information about it. So, but Eagan Police Department, Roseville Police Department, so as big as you can find them. And then we're looking at those smaller agencies like Gibbon and Wyndham.
And it says that they've either applied to do it or they've started it. Has anyone graduated or is doing it?
They're going through the process. So nobody has graduated because this has just begun. Yes. So we got done with all the standards, maybe I want to say maybe 2 months ago. So the process has just begun. I don't want to fall too far behind.
Anybody else? Chief Sueur, I just want to tell you, when you joined this department, I thought you brought a lot of integrity and some strong validity to this department. I think this program will kind of bring the entire department with that same morals and the validity that you bring to it. So I think this program will be very beneficial to us. And thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I do believe that we're definitely going the right direction. It's been a great group of people to work with, and we're just gonna get better.
And thanks for your work with this commission.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the Sueur Police.
Ready to leave.
Well, you can stay for the vote. The Sueur Police Department enrollment and pursuit of the accreditation with the Minnesota LEAP program, including pursuit of the grant funding to cover the expenses related to this program.
So move.
I think we go over here first. That's fine. Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Huntington, seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, I
We
appreciate you.
it. Moving on to item 8B, resolution R 2025-017. That's the 2025 street utility improvements project contract award. Mr. Roby, you want to summarize this for us?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I would also like to point out one of our guests this evening. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of guests this evening. We have Lindsay and Beth and Mr. Eric Hauser. Some of you will recognize Eric from his work in the city on the CSAW 22 and CSAW 36 projects. I believe he even had a nickname on the CSAW 36 project. I can't remember what it was, but it was like the post holder guy because he was from doing surveying and staking. So a lot of our residents will be familiar with Mr. Hauser's work. Mr. Hauser is a project engineer with Bolton & Mank, and he is here tonight to answer any technical questions that as they may come up regarding the 2025 street utility project. This council has talked a lot, and the previous council has talked a lot about the 2025 street utility improvements project, or the North 4th and Cathcart Street improvement project. This is tonight's action is that's before the council is really the next significant step in this project. All the plans and specs were approved by City Council late in 2024. The city, in consultation with the engineers, issued a bid package. Bids were opened on Thursday, March 6th. We were very pleased to see that there were 11 bidders for this project, which is really great for a project this size. The lowest apparent bidder was Keekly Underground out of Kimball, Minnesota, with a low bid of $6,629,084.53. This bid represents 9% below the engineer's estimate, roughly $700,000 below the engineer's estimate, and 2% below the next lowest bidder. Keekly is a qualified contractor. They have some experience here in the city of Sueur as the utility subcontractor on the North Main Street reconstruction project completed in 2017. As I mentioned tonight, the action that's in front of City Council would be to accept the bids and recommend contract award. What you'll note about the next two agenda items, the agenda item 8B in particular, is the nuance to this project, and that it is a City of Sueur project on a City of Sueur street. However, Sueur County does have a role to play in this project as the city was awarded LRIP, or Local Road Improvement Program, grant funding for the project. City of Sueur is not large enough to qualify for state aid status. What this means is when the City of Sueur was granted LRIP funding, in order to receive that grant funding, the Sueur County effectively has to be a sponsor for the project. The Sueur County has agreed to be a sponsor for the project. What that also means is Sueur County has the distinct honor and privilege of being effectively the contract owner for this project. So normally when we request City Council acceptance of bids, and we request City Council award the contract, and then the city executes the contract with the contractor. In this case, what we're requesting is bid acceptance and award recommendation to the Sueur County Board of Commissioners, who would then take the recommendation from City Council. And I believe tomorrow morning at their county board meeting, we'll consider awarding contract to Keekly Underground. Just some additional next steps that are on here. Again, tomorrow morning is the Sueur County Board of Commissioners meeting to award contract to Keekly Underground. We're targeting right now early April, which is like next week, to hold a pre-construction meeting. So that's we call it pre-con, which is all hands on deck from all utilities, most city staff, engineers, and the contractor to start talking about phasing, timing, initial steps for construction. We would then host a neighborhood meeting or a public open house to talk about the kickoff for construction. We've already had a very preliminary conversation with St. Anne's because they're one of the major property owners along this corridor to start talking about timing of the project. And right now we have an anticipated construction start date of April 21st. We've talked about the other dates previously, but ultimately all substantial complete work right now is targeted for mid-November. And then, as we have seen with our previous projects, the 112 Turnback and the South 36 project, is that the contractor will come back then in the spring of 2026 to complete the balance of the work, including the wear course, which is the final lift on the pavement and striping. Then there's usually a punch list of items, some warranty work on plantings and things like that. And so we would anticipate final acceptance from City Council of this project in June of 2027. You've seen this before, Chapter 429. This is a Minnesota state statute that dictates the process that we're following here. Pursuant to Chapter 429, we have advertised for bids in the official city paper for 3 consecutive weeks. Bid opening was conducted in person according to law. 11 bids, as noted, were received. The county board will consider the official contract award tomorrow morning. Estimated final project cost is tracking under the preliminary cost estimates with a total of approximately $8 million. The resolution in front of City Council for this agenda item is, should it be adopted, it would direct the county, recommend to the county that the low bid to Keekly Underground be awarded, totaling $6,629,084.53.
Thank you, Mr. Roby. I appreciate that summary. One quick question I have. It is uncommon for the county to be a partner with the municipality similar to ours. They've done this before. I believe we've done it with them in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
We have, yes, and we have a great relationship with the Sueur County generally, and the County Environmental Services Division, including the county engineer. They've been great partners with us on the CASAV 36 project, on the CASAV 22 112 Turnback project. So this was a case where we called them up and said, hey, we're going to need your partnership again, and they responded immediately with an okay, just tell us what we need to do to make this happen. And as council will recall, this section of road, a portion of the project corridor along North 4th Street was previously CASAV 37, which was turned back to the city of Sueur in 2024 officially. So North 4th Street, much of North 4th Street, along with a portion of North 5th Street, were previously county road or county state aid highway, which were turned back to the city. And that turn back was finalized in 2024 following a joint powers agreement that was signed back in 2020 between the city and the county as part of the preamble to CASAV 22 and CASAV 36.
You said that the final job, it's for that they're on different sheet, for different dates. Yeah, all works completed, and then the construction, the final completion. Who signs off? The county?
Ultimately, the county will sign off. The way we work it here operationally is the engineers maintain a punch list of items for each of our stages of construction, and the final punch list, all the warranty work. And what they'll do is they work closely with the final contractor and with staff. So if we make observations or we have questions as we're observing the work that they're doing, we work with the contractor and the engineer to make sure that all of those things are ticked and tied and done before we would release final payment. And then the county would release the final payment on our recommendation.
Thank you. Councilmember Nelson. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? If not, we'll move on to the action that's ahead of us. And that would be a or action we need is a motion for the staff recommends that the city council adopt R 2025-017. I'll let you read the rest of it for the $6,629,000 and 84.53 cents for the project for the 4th Street Cathcart project. Improvement would also be in line, of course, with the county, and they would help direct those funds. How do you pronounce the name of this construction company? Keekly. So with that, I will entertain a motion to move ahead with this action.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Schleter seconded. Any other discussion? Comments? Concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to item 8C, that'd be resolution R 2025-018, that'd be the local road improvement program and agreement. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The previously mentioned LRIP grant, or Local Road Improvement Program grant, I'll just walk through history first. Back in December of 2023, when we were back when the world was young, we called the county and said, hey, we think we might have an opportunity here with our North 4th Street project to get some grant funds through MnDOT to complete the construction, up to $1.5 million. City Council authorized the application in late 2023. We learned in April of 2024 that the city of Sueur had been awarded $1.5 million with the maximum grant award for this project. The design, step back. Once the grant is awarded, then the plans and specs for the project not only need to go through City Council for approval, which they did, but also need to go to MnDOT state aid. So the project has to meet MnDOT state aid standards. The plans all did, except for one component, which council members who were here earlier will recall, which was the S curve on North 4th Street. That was considered a design deviation. That was submitted for approval for the deviation. The city of Sueur was somewhat of a guinea pig in this. State aid had not handled a request similar to ours in the past, but ultimately they approved the deviation. And then ultimately City Council approved the plans. MnDOT approved the final plans in mid-February of this year. And upon their approval, they sent us an agreement for the grant. This is standard with most grants that we receive. We have to consider the terms and conditions of the grant. The funds may be spent on X, but they may not be spent on Y. This is how you will get the funds. You won't get the funds until you do ABC steps. The grant agreement was included in the packet here. The LRIP grant is a reimbursement type program. So as part of the work, when payment applications are submitted by the contractor to us, City Council recommends approval of those. They will go to the county board. County board will then agree. County will pay. We will reimburse the county, and then the county in turn will submit for reimbursement up to $1.5 million. Then MnDOT will send those funds to the county because, again, the county is the contract holder on the project. The county will send us the money to reimburse us up to $1.5 million. And the eligible expenses up to $1.5 million consist of all the roadway work, curb and gutter, sidewalk, storm sewer, and roadway lighting.
So it's none of the work that's been done so far, just getting ready for this.
That's correct.
It's reimbursable.
Correct. Correct.
And it's already cost quite a bit of money, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. The city has satisfied all the requirements of the state aid office in preparation for the grant agreement. Maximum award is $1.5 million. And effectively, when we looked at this project back in 2023, we recognized that the ideal would be to maximize the amount of the corridor that we do at one time, which was taking it from Bridge Street all the way to Dakota. effectively allowing us to reconstruct and replace all the utilities between two county state aid highways, 22 and 35. In order to do that, we recognize that financially, we would really need $1.5 million to fill in that gap to allow us to do the entire corridor in one fell swoop. And I think it certainly helped our application for the grant to make the argument that we were connecting two state aid highways to do this. If this is North 4th Street is a major thoroughfare for our community, it does connect two state aid highways. There's school traffic, there's a lot of standard vehicle traffic, there's a lot of industrial traffic through here. It's a major school bus route. And so for all those reasons and more, I qualified for grant funding. So the recommendation and the resolution that's in front of council tonight would be that the city council adopt this resolution authorizing us to enter into and abide by the terms of the local road improvement program grant agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Roby. Does anybody have any questions regarding this matter with Mr. Roby? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the council to adopt resolution R 2025-018.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams.
Second.
Councilmember Schluter seconded. Any other discussions, questions, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to item 8B, resolution R 2025-01, road improvement program joint powers agreement. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the final peg in the LRIP discussion tonight, we're bringing forward a resolution that would allow the city to enter into a joint powers agreement with Sueur, which would effectively set the terms and conditions, the rights and responsibilities for the city of Sueur and Sueur County as it relates to LRIP funding. The city and Sueur County partnership, as referenced earlier, has quite an extensive resume starting back in 2014 and even earlier than that, but with the pavement rehabilitation project on the installation of the Kingsway Trail back in 2014, the 2019 LTAP sidewalk replacement project, the Trunk Highway 112 turnback and the CASA 22 reconstruction project in 2020, and the CASA 36 and South Main Street reconstruction project. All these projects were done hand in hand between the city of Sueur and Sueur County. And each of these projects has involved the execution of an agreement between the city and the county outlining the financial terms of the partnership. It's not required in this case, but it is recommended by MnDOT, and city staff and county staff both feel that there's enough money changing hands here that an agreement would be appropriate. This is consistent with past practice where we've had other similar agreements. We've successfully partnered on financially and operationally over the last 10 years, over $25 million in joint projects. Construction administration and inspection on this project is expected to be consistent with Trunk Highway 112 and CASA 36. So what that means is effectively anytime, as I mentioned earlier, the city engineer is working with city staff and the contractor real time on site on these projects to make sure that everything is done to plans and specs. That same information is relayed to the county engineer to also ensure that the county engineer is satisfied with the results. I'll take any questions if there are.
Anybody have any questions at all? If not, I will. I'll give one more minute there. Anybody? Nobody? I'm looking for a motion then to adopt R 2025-019, approving the execution of the attached joint powers agreement with the Sueur County related to the North 4th Street and Cathcart Street improvement projects. So second, Councilmember Sullivan, Councilmember Huntington seconded. Any other discussion, comments, or concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Last item on today's agenda is the resolution 5-020 Minnesota DNR observation law. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Minnesota DNR maintains an extensive network of groundwater observation wells throughout the state of Minnesota. If you go on their website, it's really quite remarkable the number of wells that they utilize for certainly water sampling and testing. But one of the main reasons for the extensive network is to monitor the underground aquifers that the state of Minnesota and many cities and counties and townships use and individuals use for drawing on groundwater. The DNR currently in the vicinity of Sueur uses an agriculture well on a farm south of town. They've used that well for something like 45 years now. It's primarily an agriculture well that's set up on a homestead or farmstead, and the DNR installed equipment on it that allows it to monitor the level of the aquifer. The DNR reached out to city staff in late 2023, asking if they could set up a standalone observation well where they would discontinue use eventually of the ag well south of town and establish a new well that's dedicated simply to the DNR's observation of groundwater. They had already identified some locations in and around the airport, given the topography, given the elevation of the airport, where they would like to site a well. City staff have been working with the DNR on appropriate locations at the airport and have identified a spot. It's a little red cross there on the screen. That's generally out of the way of any potential development. It would be fully maintained by the DNR, installed by the DNR, and all of the readings from the well certainly would be available to the city if we ever wanted them at a moment's notice, but they're also available publicly on the DNR's website. There's no cost involved to the city at all. There is an agreement, and this is what the resolution deals with, a proposed agreement that outlines the terms and conditions of the well placement and maintenance. The agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney and notably by the airport engineer, who consulted with the FAA to ensure that there were no conflicts from an aviation standpoint. And the airport commission did discuss this at their meeting. They did not provide a recommendation to approve or deny, but they did consider it, and there was no opposition from the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Roby. I think you answered my only question. This is absolutely no cost to the community.
Correct.
This is a DNR project. Anybody else have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to adopt resolution R 2025-020, approving the execution of DNR groundwater observation well agreement as presented.
So
Wow. We're gonna give it to Councilmember Huntington this time. Councilmember Schluter seconded. Any other discussion? Any concerns, questions? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to reports and items of appreciation. Council members, this is your opportunity to share what's going on with your commissions, share what's going on with your community. And as always, we will start with Councilmember Huntington.
I've got nothing, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Nelson.
Don't either.
Okay, very good. Councilmember Schluter, I caught you on the third meeting.
As Administrator Roby mentioned before, I attended the focus group meeting related to the Sueur County Comprehensive Plan on the 12th. Upcoming activities, Sueur County officials meeting this week will be hosted by Sueur, and I have a region-wide legislative committee meeting on the 28th.
May I interject really quickly, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Schluter? Sueur County officials meeting, which the city of Sueur is hosting, and I apologize, this was written on my update and I failed to mention it. It's being hosted by the city of Sueur here in council chambers. Now, we did not notice this as a public meeting. So if anyone is interested, the meal will begin here in council chambers at 6:30, but I can have 3 or fewer of you attend because it was not noticed as a public meeting. I'm sure you're all interested, but you can't all attend. Councilmember Schluter will be attending, and is there anyone else?
I had planned on it.
This Wednesday,
I had planned on being there.
okay? Great.
I encourage anybody who wants to be there. We need a third, or
We don't
have room
need
for
a
a
third.
third.
We have room for a third.
If anybody's interested, we can talk to Mr. Roby after.
Okay. two, and then the third spot is first come, first served. So whoever texts me first.
Very good. Going back,
Next is on. Okay, thank you.
going back to Mr. Schlieber, you finished.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Schlieber. Councilmember Smith.
I have attended 3 meetings in the last couple of weeks, one at the MRBT board meeting, an HRA meeting, and an EVA meeting earlier today. I've also attended 2 online seminars, one for the Vision 2050 Business Focus Group, but still unsure what they were talking about, but I was there, and a social media for elected officials online seminars. I also had situation over the weekend where I had to submit a form online. We had a drainage issue, and I would like to thank the employees of the city of Sueur who acted on it very quickly. I received a phone call within probably 15 minutes of submitting the form, and they were out within a few days to get the problem resolved. So I would like to thank them for doing that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Well, that's it.
Councilmember Sullivan.
I have nothing to add.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams.
I also have nothing.
Wow. I am, yes.
May I really briefly, just on this, and this was not, I would note that this was not Councilmember Smith's issue, but as a PSA to everyone, even if the wipes say they're flushable, please don't. That was part of the issue, was there was a large clump of flushable wipes that was located in the sewer main. It may not have been the entire issue, but that was located and cleaned out.
I know there was
in the area.
4 of us on our street that had drainage issues.
Yes, so even if the wipes say flushable, they're not.
They're not.
They may go out your sewer lateral, but they do collect somewhere. And when they do collect, they cause problems.
Thank you. I'm glad you shared that. On a different note, I have not much to share. The meeting we had with U.S. Representative Craig the other day, I want to thank Chief Sueur for being there. I'd like to also thank Chief Weinish, our fire chief. And Mr. Roman did a fantastic job at that, so thank you. It's always a pleasure to have our U.S. representatives here. Not too long ago, we had U.S. Senator Klobuchar here, and Representative Craig's been here in the past also. So anytime we can get U.S. representatives here, we like to showcase our community. So thank you for everybody who's a part of that. Other than that, I have nothing else. I will entertain a motion to dismiss tonight's meeting. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington. All those in favor?